Four men in skirts just took over the world. Genderless, flawless, going viral on every screen you own. They come from a country whose army discharged its first transgender soldier. It ruled that her new body counted as a disability. A court later called that illegal. And the same country built the first genderless pop group the world has ever seen, then sold it to the planet. This isn't a Korea getting free. This is Korea noticing what the world wanted to buy and building it on schedule. I came out of this machine, so let me just show you how it works. The product with no gender. They wear skirts and pearls and nails down to here. 3 continents have mistaken them for women, and they lean into it every time. A whole queer audience claim them on sight. Fans across Europe and the Americas who spent years being told their own countries had no room for them. For 1 minute, it looked like Korea finally grew something brave. Then the man who owns them sat down with the reporter and said the quiet part. Genderless was never who they are. It was a concept, a sales angle, chosen in a room to move units. The bravest thing in K-pop had a price tag on it before the first song ever dropped. They are called XLOV, 4 of them. Debut single, I'm a Bee. Learn the name and then forget it. Because the name was never the story. The story is who decided softness would sell, and who is already paying for it. And do not mistake this for a fringe experiment. It grew, a single, then a first mini album, then a second one this year built on voguing, and a chorus about becoming whole. They put one of the country's biggest actresses in the video. This is not a stunt anymore. It is a working franchise with a balance sheet. So someone in a room looked at a chart and decided this would move units. The only questions left are who and why. And the answer does not live in a boardroom. It runs straight into a prison. Start with the soldier from the opening. Her name was Byun Hee-soo. She enlisted on her own. She drove a tank, and partway through her service, she had gender confirmation surgery. She wanted to keep wearing the uniform as a woman. The army said no. It ruled that the loss of her male body was a disability, and it pushed her out. She took the army to court to win her place back. She did not live to hear the answer. A judge called the discharge illegal months after she was already gone. You might tell yourself that one soldier is just one story. She is not. She is the shape of the whole thing. Because in South Korea, being gay is not a crime. Until you put on that same uniform. And every man in Korea puts it on. Service is mandatory. Almost 2 years of your early 20s, there is no opting out. And inside the uniform, there is a law. Article 92.6, it makes sex between male soldiers a crime. Up to 2 years in prison, on duty or off, on base or off, whether both men wanted it or not. This is not some dead rule nobody touches. The highest court in the country has been handed it 4 separate times, 2002, 2011, 2016, and again in 2023. 4 chances to strike it down, 4 times they kept it. And in 2017, the army went further than just keeping it. It went hunting. A watchdog group accused it of building fake profiles on gay dating apps to track its own soldiers down, seizing phones, demanding names. A captain was convicted and discharged over sex with another man off base. And none of this stops at the barracks gate. Every year, the country's biggest pride march tries to gather in the main square in Seoul. And in 2023, the city handed that square to a church group instead. A Christian concert run by people who openly campaign against them. There is still no legal same-sex marriage anywhere in the country, and lawmakers have spent years refusing to pass even a basic law against discrimination. Killed over and over by the same churches. This is the soil those 4 boys grew out of. So hold the 2 pictures next to each other. On one side, 4 boys in skirts being worshipped across Europe. On the other, a soldier in the same country dragged through a military court for the same softness. Same flag over both rooms. The same idea of what a man is allowed to be. One version gets a world tour, the other gets a record that follows them for the rest of their life. How does one country carry both of those at the same time and never blink? That is the whole video. And the answer is colder than simple hypocrisy. But before I get to it, you have to see that the gay law is only one front. This whole country is tearing itself in half over gender right now. Men against women, out loud and in the open. Let me show you that war. The gay law is only one front. Step back and look at the whole country. South Korea is in an open war over gender right now. Not a quiet disagreement, a war. Men on one side, women on the other, and the distance between the two is wider than almost anywhere on earth. Look at how the young people vote. Pollsters keep finding a gap between young men and young women here that runs close to 50 points. The men breaking hard to the right, the women breaking hard the other way. Two halves of one generation that can barely share a room. A president rode that war straight into office. He stood in front of young men and told them sexism in Korea was finished, that feminism was the thing wrecking their lives, that the ministry built to protect women treated men like criminals and should be shut down. Almost 6 in 10 men in their 20s voted for him. Then in office, he cut the budgets that protect women and had the words gender equality quietly scrubbed out of government plans and school books. Now look at what the women are living with on the other side. Korea has the widest pay gap in the developed world. A woman here earns close to a third less than a man for the same work. She holds a sliver of the manager jobs, a sliver of the seats in parliament. The country has sat near the bottom of the global rankings for this for years. And the war is not just numbers and votes. It has bodies in it. In 2016, a man stabbed a young woman to death in a public bathroom near Gangnam. He had never met her. He told police that women had always looked down on him. Her death became a match dropped on dry grass. Thousands of women filled the streets, and the two halves of this country have been pulling apart ever since. So some women stopped waiting for any of it to get better. They walked away from men completely. No dating, no sex, no marriage, no children. They call it the 4 no's, a strike against an entire half of the population. And it spread so far that women on the other side of the planet started doing it too. If you ever wonder why nobody here is having children, part of the answer is that a huge share of the young have quietly stopped reaching for each other at all. And then 2024 showed everyone how vicious it had really gotten. Police uncovered enormous chat rooms trading fake nude images of real women and girls. Some of those rooms held hundreds of thousands of members. The pictures were built with one tap on a phone, and most of the targets knew the person who did it to them. A classmate, a coworker, a name already sitting in their contacts. Most of the boys making them were teenagers. Girls across the country deleted their own faces off the internet overnight. Thousands of women marched, holding signs that called the state itself an accomplice. This is the country, at war with gender on every front, in the courts, in the polls, in the classrooms, in the group chats, out loud and in public. And this is the country that built the world, a group with no gender at all, wrapped it up, and shipped it out with a bow on top. Now hold on, because everything I have shown you so far is only the question. The country that punishes this, the country at war with itself over gender. That is just the setup. The answer is colder than all of it, and it was never hypocrisy. It is just business. One of the most profitable things this country knows how to make. Before this is over, I am going to walk you through exactly how a place like this sells the world a freedom it would never give its own people. But first you need to see the one night the mask slipped. It happened in Warsaw. Opening night of their first tour through Europe. A fan threw a rainbow flag up onto the stage. A member bent down to pick it up, and security stopped his hand. A minute later, another member waved a Polish flag. No problem at all. The national flag was welcome. The rainbow one was not. And the whole front row saw which one was which. The clip went everywhere within hours. And then the company made it worse. Through the local promoter, it announced a new rule. No flags at the shows. Any flags. For the sake of neutrality. To keep the room comfortable for everybody. Read that one more time. A genderless group that built its entire name on breaking the rule. Banned the one flag that made its fans feel seen, and handed them the word neutrality to swallow it with. The fans did not swallow it. They called it cowardly. They called it a betrayal. Many read it as the company quietly confessing the thing it was always scared of. The members tried to patch the wound. Their leader stood in front of the Berlin crowd and told them no one could ever change who they are. That he loved watching fans show up as themselves. And here is the part that stays with me. I think the boys meant every word. That is the center of this whole story. The kids on the stage were more honest than the company that owns them, because the company had already shown you the truth in one clean motion. The openness was for export. The flag was for sale, right up until the flag became a risk. And the moment it became a risk, the flag went on the floor. So now you know what is really in the box. Not freedom, a picture of freedom, with the danger trimmed off. Let me show you why that picture sells better than the real thing ever could. Why the costume sells. Here is what makes this so good at its job. A real movement is a mess. It has fights and losses and laws and funerals in it. Think of the soldier from the start of this. That is what the real thing costs you. It costs careers. It costs court dates. Sometimes it costs a life before a judge ever admits you are right. A genderless boy band asks for none of that. You get the colors, you get the softness, you get the warm feeling of standing for something, and you never once have to stand anywhere near the bill. That is the whole genius of the export. Korea does not ship you its reality, it ships you the mood, the lighting, the choreography, the exact emotional hit of openness with none of the prism bolted to the back of it. You buy the skirt. The country keeps the law, and everyone walks away holding what they came for. And I'm not standing over you while I say any of this. I want to be straight with the people who watch this channel. I sing for you here, for the nations. So I'm not pointing as a machine I escaped. I'm still standing inside one. The difference is, I tell you the price on the way in. When I was an idol, nobody told me the price. I was trained to be whatever the room in front of me needed. A smile that was not really mine. A body shaped by a diet I did not choose. A softness that was assigned to me like a costume off a rack. I performed feelings I did not have for people who believed every one of them. The machine was not lying when it sold me to a crowd. It was lying about what I was. That is the whole trick. The machine never says this is fake. It says this is who they are. When the truth the entire time is this is what sells. And the crime was never the selling. People pay singers for songs. That part is honest. A bill that says one drink and charges you for one drink is clean. The crime is the label. They take a product and sell it to you as an identity. They take a costume and sell it as the truth about a person. And they let the tap grow in the dark until somebody throws a flag and the lights come up. So come back to the question we started with. How does a country put a man on trial for being soft and sell the world a softer man in the very same breath? The answer is that the country and the export are not the same thing. The country has to live with itself. The export just has to sell. And the export does not have to believe a single thing. It only has to ship. Korea is not confused, and it is not changing its mind. It is running a factory, and the factory builds whatever the buyer orders. The buyer wanted a strong man, so it built a strong man. The buyer wanted a soft man, so it built a soft man. The buyer wanted a man with no gender at all, so it filed the gender clean off and shipped that one too. None of it ever asked Korea to change one law. It only asked Korea to read the order form, and that is the part almost nobody wants to hear out loud. The genderless idol is not proof the world is finally getting free. He is proof that freedom now comes in a box, built in a place that will not allow it, sold to people who will never have to live where it was made. And that distance is the whole product. From far enough away, the skirt looks like a whole country opening its arms. Up close, it is a country that worked out exactly what the skirt was worth and kept everything behind it. And none of that is a scandal. It is the most successful business the country has. As for the four boys in the middle of all of it, it might be the only honest thing in the whole operation. They wear what they want. They love their fans out loud and in public. They simply do not own the company. And the company has already shown you exactly what it does the second the flag starts to cost money. It is 2 in the morning in Gwangju. The kids are asleep. Somewhere out there, a tour bus is rolling out of a city that screamed all night for 4 boys in skirts. And somewhere else, a 60-year-old law is still sitting on a shelf right where it has always sat. Both of those are Korea. One of them they sold you. One of them they did not. I'm not here to take the skirt out of your hands. Wear it, love it, just know who stitched it. And know what they kept for themselves. Stay real, because that's what I crave. This is Sibon Records. See you in the next one.